What up? What up? What up? Welcome back to Just the Guys podcast. Our mission is to bring back shame. If you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe to Just the Guys podcast. Follow us on metroconservativemedia.com. You can also check out our merch. Links will be in the description. I forgot to put them in there, man. But what's up, fellas? What's up, Gimpy? How you doing, bro?
Same as it ever was.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. I'm on vacation from my real job, so I'm relaxed.
Oh, there you go. So you don't have your panties in a bunch this week, huh?
That has yet to remain to be seen.
I don't want to see either way, but what's up? What's up, Diamond Dave? How you doing, brother? My gold beef.
I don't eat beef. So,
I mean, I was it's funny. I was actually thinking about like why is Mongolia just so like just interesting to me, and I think it came from South Park. You know, you watch South Park, Diamond Dave?
Yeah.
Sure, Mongolians. always trying to go after Shitty Walk. Yeah, man, guys, make sure you hit the like button. Shout out to everybody in the chat. And I thought you were going to they said they thought you was gonna comb your hair, Diamond Dave.
Okay. Okay.
Oh my gosh. All right, what's up, Iron Forge? And shout out to what's a mod are you? What's a mod are you? All right, guys, we want to talk a little bit about Easter today. This is we're marking the end of the holy celebrations across the globe. I mean, you had the end of Ramadan just a few days ago. Right now we're in Passover, the Jewish holiday, and then tomorrow, today is Saturday, April 4th, and tomorrow, April 5th, is Easter. Now, Gimpy, you and I were talking earlier this week, man, about like how all these holidays kind of fall on the same at the same time, right? And there's some significance to that, right? There's some reason why all of these holidays fall at the same time. And you were mentioning about the Jewish holiday has been practiced for centuries, right? Passover's been practiced for
2,000 years, buddy. Well, 2,000 years, let's say, more than 2,000 years.
So what is Passover?
The celebration of Jews being freed from Egypt. It's one of the three big ones. Jews have three holidays where they were supposed to, pilgrimage to Jerusalem to give sacrifice at the Holy Temple. Sukkot, right? Like the one where they do the little hut and they eat outside. Passover, and then Shavuos. And it all has to do with being freed from Egypt, traveling in the desert, and then getting the 10 Commandments, I guess, the Torah from God at Sinai. Those are what those different holidays commemorate.
Okay, so when does the 10 Commandments? When is that one?
Shavuos. It's the one in the summer. 49 days from yesterday. No, 2 days ago. 49 days.
Okay. Huh. All right. Well, I need to read my Bible more, huh? That's in the Bible, right? The timeline?
I have no idea. It's 7 weeks.
7 weeks.
One to the next.
Okay. And so Easter marks, the resurrection of Christ, right? So on Good Friday, he was crucified, and then 3 days later he rose, and that's what Easter Sunday is representative of. Now, Diamond Dave, you have a different view of religion and Christianity. I just want to first just get your kind of view on Christianity or religion in general, and just kind of lay where your position is and all this. So we already know Gimpy's a Jew, and where do you kind of fall?
I'm Hindu. Yeah, I'm Hindu, and then my wife and her family, they come from a very Tibetan Buddhist line. Christianity, I would say, is virtually non-existent here. It's about 1.3% of the population are some type of Christians, and depending on your beliefs of Christianity, you may not consider all of them Christians, right? So like the government here considers Mormons, Jehovah's Witnesses, Seventh-day Adventists as like under the Christian umbrella, right? So all of those groups plus whatever other denominations that are here, it's roughly 60 to 70,000 people at the most. So it's just kind of like, I mean, I grew up in the US, you know, my mother's a Calvinist, and I just never was into Christianity from the get-go. It just never resonated. So
when you say resonate, what does that mean? And I'm not, trying to.
Oh no, I get it. I mean,
yeah.
It just doesn't. There are aspects about it that doesn't connect or make sense. As well as I find for myself, there's no practical use for Christianity, especially since, growing up in some of the churches and, going through the Sunday school, you hear all these dumb cliches, in my opinion, where all of life's answers can be found in the Bible. And realistically, I would say, spiritual questions could be answered by the Bible, but practical day-to-day living is not found in the Bible. Questions that I've had or issues that I've had, I've been able to use outside sources to resolve issues without it. And I mean, if people want to be Christian, that's fine. I won't be. So.
All right. So Gimpy, does that same, I guess, thought process hold true for Judaism? Like all answers will be found like in the Torah or just kind of rules for life?
Yes. Yes, indeed. I mean, it's a simple answer.
Okay.
Are you trying to get me to say something in response to him?
Yeah.
I mean, he's a Hindu, man.
No, but I'm just saying, like, if
of course he doesn't agree with me. He's a Hindu. He believes in what he believes in.
Well, I'm not trying to, get you to convert anybody right now. I'm just trying to understand.
Like in terms of Easter and all this, dude. I'm sure they have a Hindu holiday that is either just past or just coming up. Everybody has a holiday now, pretty much. It's spring. Everybody. They've been doing it. There's nothing in Hinduism in spring.
I'd have to double check. There's nothing from my sect, but there's different sects of Hinduism. So I'm almost positive there's things going on right now.
I'm just saying because we've been doing spring. Spring used to be New Year for everybody.
Yeah. I mean, our Lunar New Year passed in February, right? So it's about the same time.
The Chinese.
Yeah. There's the Chinese New Year, the Tibetan Buddhist Lunar New Year, which looks a little bit different. So there's things going around, and I agree with Gimpy in that regard. It's like every religion, every culture, the end of winter, spring starts, there's things happening.
So, and Gimpy, you and I were talking about this a little bit and this is kind of because a lot of us are like kind of in search for truth, right? Diamond Dave, you say you're in search for truth and search for meaning, things like that. Would you agree with that?
I would say not meaning, because I believe meaning to be subjective. Like what's meaningful to Gimpy may not be meaningful to me.
But internally, right? Internally,
internally, I would say I'm on a path that I have found peace with.
Okay.
But when it comes to like meaning and things like that, that's not something that I personally ascribe to. I'm more ascribed to like just, peace and reflection.
So how do you get to peace then? Like what does that look like?
For myself, it involves, meditation. It involves a particular way of life. Hinduism is much more than a religion. It's a way of life. And it basically boils down to reducing like expectation and letting go of attachments. the less that you hold on to and the less you carry through life, I've personally found has made just all the difference.
How is that? How would you argue that that's any different? I'm sorry, man. I don't mean to step on your toes as the host, man, but like Don and Dave, how do you argue that's any different than and again, I'm not Christian, so I'm not speaking from a point of expertise, but any Christian who's a true believer who's about to celebrate Easter, their whole Easter thing is Christ died for their sins so that they can be free of the materialistic bonds and sin themselves and have the opportunity for redemption, right? Like, wouldn't you say that they're doing the exact same thing, just under a different name? Like, how is it different?
I would say
how are you achieving different goals?
So I would say it's similar. The difference is in Hinduism, there is no sin. There's no concept of sin.
So what is there then, right? Because what are you, I guess, getting peace from or turning away from if there's no sin?
Well, it's not a matter of necessarily turning away from anything. The similarity is it's coming closer to God. The difference is Hinduism doesn't teach that when you're born, you're inherently sinful. There is what basically dharma, which is duty, right? And I think Christianity has its, similar version of that, right? So there is truth and there is error, right? You can either live according to your duty or you can go against it. But there is no such thing as an inherently good or an inherently evil person from birth. Now you can do evil things. You can do evil things and become that, but you're not inherently that. So there's no need for a savior.
So your premise is that there's okay, so there's no need for a savior. So what's the point of the religion?
It's not a religion.
What's the point of the way of life then?
No, see, like that's the thing. If we're gonna sit here, then the whole topic's about to change. But you can't compare Christianity to Hinduism as a one-to-one comparison. It doesn't function the same. It's not the same thing. Hindus don't look at Hinduism the way a Christian looks at Christianity to begin with. Like the starting point is completely different. What they're trying to achieve might seem similar, but from a Hindu's perspective, they're on the other side of and again, I'm no expert, but from the Hindus I've known in my lifetime and having conversation with them, they start in a completely different place. They have totally different rules to the universe than a Judeo-Christian person has. We believe sin is innate, that it comes with us automatically. And that's why we have teachings of God or Christ or whatever you want to call it, is because that it gives us the path to alleviate ourselves of sin. And then you have whatever faith story you believe in. If it's the Christians, you believe Jesus died for your sins. If it's the Jews, you're waiting for the guy to come to bring you redemption, right? Like it's all whatever your unique story is. But at the end of the day, a Hindu is looking at it that I have only X, Y, and Z to do, whereas the Judeo-Christian is looking at it that I'm absorbing the burden of God. It's a totally different mechanism. It's not a one-to-one.
So, here's where I'm confused. And welcome to the show, Cisco. The lieutenant
Don't
governor.
worry, folks. Maryland, he'll be on time for. I'm just saying that out. Maryland, he will be on time. Cisco, folks.
How y'all doing?
What's up, man? So first off, because I lost my question. Well, put it like this. Because Diamond Dave, you said you want to get closer to God as the way of practice. And maybe I'm not really, I understand you're starting from a different point. However, if the objective is to become closer to God, it seems like there's the same objective.
It's not God, it's enlightenment. They're not concerned with the deity as much as they are the state of being.
Well, correct. Okay. So maybe I misunderstood what Dave said, because Dave said we want to get closer to God. So
yeah,
I guess
but again, it's through us. We look at it different. We look at
it. So what Gimpy is saying is like even your definition of God is like at its core fundamentally different than mine.
Yes. Hindus don't look at the world with the same. Like think about it as the easiest way I can put it is you're both playing an RPG, but you both have different game physics. So yes, you have the same goals and the same ideas and the same plans. You got to grind, you got to do this, you got to do that. But the game presented, the game of the outside from a Hindu's perspective is not at all the same game physics. What's important to a Hindu is not at all the same thing that's in. For example, in the Eastern Orthodox Church, in order to become a saint, you have to suffer and die. Literally, you have to suffer in the name of God and die. And if that happens, you can become a saint. That's absurd to a Hindu. That makes no sense whatsoever. You should never have to suffer and die to achieve your status. You should be able to find it through enlightened living. It's all about a positive vibe. There should be no suffering. In fact, the whole concept is to alleviate suffering from the world by just existing in a peaceful, harmonious, one with everything state. I mean, and again, I'm not an like, I'm sorry, Diamond Dave could probably tell you much more specifics, but this is a thing that people get wrong. You cannot compare Hinduism to other Western religions. It's not the same. Like, it's fundamentally different. That it doesn't do the argument a justice if you try and make it a one-to-one argument. That you never get where you want to go. That's why I was trying to avoid this conversation in the first place when it started.
Yeah, I was kind of curious what this had to do with Easter.
No, we don't get there, man. But I'm just trying to get the background, like get an understanding.
Yeah.
And honestly, like, I'm learning as we go along. Like, I'm just learning, because we all brothers, man. We all just getting to know each other. What's up, Cisco?
Nothing much. I'm just listening to you guys. Different opinions.
The most devout guy here is this one, by the way. To be fair, he's the one who has the right to do. If anybody, it should be him and Diamond Dave.
Well, me personally, I think, Gimpy, we've discussed this before. I am a Christian. I am a Catholic. The OG Christians, actually. And I also believe that his creation I just don't think intellectually we are equipped to do a lot with the questions that we have. Okay. I see an ever expanding infinite universe, expanding at greater than the speed of light. And I look at this little blue dot out here in the Milky Way and just think that there's a lot of architecture that I see in the universe and the human body and all branches of science. And I take Plato's view. I know nothing. So my faith tradition is based on faith, the absence of things seen. So that's me. I'm not suggesting that anyone else believe the way I do, but that's what I've arrived at thus far.
So right now, so let's talk a little bit about Easter, because Easter is celebrated around the same time. Passover is around the same time as many other religious holidays, and I'm just curious, right? Is this a way to, I guess, to control the masses, like get people celebrating something, or is it a time of true reflection? Because we do know, you talk about being an OG Catholic, Cisco,
OG
right?
Christian,
OG Christian, and then, through the Roman Empire and Christianity's influence on the Roman Empire is how a big way Christianity spread. So was this a way to, reflect on true Christian values, or another way to really control the masses? Because we know, thinking about the knights, we talked about them not too long ago, where the whole idea of chivalry was the result. It's like kind of these chivalry codes to control the knights, right? Or, but Christianity, from a Christianity perspective, were these holidays created as a way to control the masses? And whoever wants to jump in first.
Let me try real quick. Let me try real quick. I'll make it brief. I do think that if we're going to be intellectually honest, yes, all religion has an element of societal control in it. I think that's clear. I also believe that because of our ability to reason as humans, we go beyond the instinctual. We go beyond survival. Start looking at Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So I don't think it's out of the ordinary for us to hold ourselves to higher ideals. And I think that's one of the avenues where religion comes in. Diamond Dave, go ahead.
So I'm actually going to hit this from the opposite angle. As a Hindu, what a shock. I actually don't think Easter is a form of control. And the reason of that is because even though there is the element of societal control, there's also the aspect of cultural exchange. So when people have, when different peoples interact and they have holidays around the similar time, over time, that's just going to bleed through and new things will come and develop. The second thing is that when I think of control, right, like, is Easter a mechanism of control? That implies someone or something is controlling it unilaterally across the globe. I don't see that, although I do acknowledge that I'm sure there's some quote unquote pastors out there that use Easter to manipulate people for like money or something. But generally speaking, because Christianity is global, I don't believe there's any one particular controller of Easter. I think that people who are Christian, or like in the Cisco's case, who are Catholic, this is a sacred time for them. And because they see it as sacred, they naturally desire to remember that part of their religion.
Go ahead, Gimpy.
And folks, there you have it. That's the demonstration right there of how you can't compare Hinduism to any Judeo-Christian concept of religion. Because for us, religion is to add the structure to the world to give it order. We believe that religion is a necessary evil, good, whatever you want to call it, however you want to frame it so you're not offended, but it's a necessary thing in order to give structure to the chaos. Otherwise, without these things, we would revert to primal behavior. Again, the reason why the French Enlightenment is wrong, or at least from my perspective, is if you look at any other religion, every religion on earth, every single one, including Hinduism, to be fair, they offer guidance on how not to be a piece of shit. So you have to assume that the default is without philosophy, right? Because religion, Hindu, whatever, is a philosophy to give you moral compass and all that structure. If you don't have that, you'll just be a piece of shit. So we have to, I argue that the French Enlightenment got it wrong. We are not born good. We are actually born selfish, self-centered, and hedonistic. And without these structures, we wouldn't be able to do things properly. Though every time you have a society that falls away from having some centralized moral structure and capacity, it collapses. It's a hallmark flag of the end of a flourishing society. Its moral compass becomes all fucked up and skewered. I mean, I'm not knocking Hinduism. I appreciate where Hindus come from, and I appreciate his perspective on it. But for us on the other side of that coin, that's what I mean. You can't. It's an apple to orange comparative. A Hindu is walking around on a totally different plane of it's insane. But people who are devout Hindus do not live like we do. And it's because their mind state don't even align a little. Because if they're devout to what they're doing, they're taking an approach that we look the opposite to. To us, it's exactly the opposite.
And it's just based on the premise, though, right? The premise of you're born good versus born
evil. Yes. And then on top of it, it's a premise of we believe religion's point is a form of control. Structure, it gives order to the chaos. We embrace it to give so that we don't become, and again, from a religious perspective, heathens. Again, I'm not knocking anybody. I am just...
Mm-hmm. Well, I know you're not knocking. I mean, you're right. You're right. And I mean, even...
No, I'm not calling anybody heathen.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, no, I get it. But I mean, even the challenge that I'm having, like, to answer a couple of Logic's questions earlier is, like, I have to try and basically, and I mean, Gimpy, you know Hindus too, so I'm sure you've seen this. But like, to answer Logic's questions, who's coming from the Judeo-Christian perspective, I have to try and take Hindu concepts and word them in a way that Christians could maybe understand. But the problem is a lot of things just don't translate.
Can you just speak Hindu?
Speak
It's Hindu.
like Hindi.
It's
No, I mean,
Hindi.
I'm just, just speak in whatever terms that you would say it, because my name's Logic. I usually can translate stuff.
I mean, hey, that works. I usually just do it out of like common courtesy to avoid.
I get
any,
it. No.
confusion, so
I try to meet people where they are. You know what I mean? Like, because
yeah, I'm the same way. I'm the same way.
Yeah. So because Gimpy, you made the point about the structure and needing order. I guess, where does that structure and order come from, right? Is it just man-made, or is this,
No.
again, when we're celebrating these things or recognizing these things, where does that structure and order come from?
The one true God, buddy. But again, that's because I'm a devout believer. Not everyone will agree with me. I'm sure Tyrone might agree with me, and I'm sure Diamond Dave has his own perspective on where it comes from. But that's what I mean, dude. It's the thing about why it's in like this whole thing with Easter is because the Romans took Christianity and scaled it upward infinitely. They created a system to scale it upward in order to stabilize the empire. I mean, Constantine at the end of his life was faced with, whether it's true or not that he saw Jesus. I wasn't, to quote CT, who's gone with the do funny flu this weekend because he's too busy benching 225 at the gym. I wasn't there. I don't have a time machine. So I don't know whether Constantine actually saw Jesus in a dream or not. But I know Constantine had a serious problem. His empire was crumbling at the end of his reign as he was getting ready to die. Religion, the polytheism was destroying his empire because the different sects were fighting amongst themselves over which God was important. He had to squash all this civil unrest in one fell swoop. And Christianity was the perfect answer. It had a rigid way of life compared to Roman society. It offered a clear concept of right from wrong, and it was scalable. And they went and they made it. Again, there are things that are lost to Christianity solely because Romans picked it, and no Christian can say elsewise. We know it from a historical fact. They made choices at places like the Council of Nicaea that impacted the future infinitely. And that's the control, is that that man messed with them, but it's supposed to be the word of God, right? It's not like they added to it. They just picked and choose which parts of it they wanted to leave out.
Guys, make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Cisco, you got anything that you want to add to that? I mean, where do like, let me ask this, because we've actually talked about a little bit of this before. Because I made a claim that there is value in ritual, and structure and order in religion, because it is a way to remember and reflect. But I think the issue, especially with things like Easter, is that we become more attached to the holiday itself than the purpose, right? Or we get attached more to the celebration than the purpose, right? Would you say there is any value in the ritual too, or what is your response to that?
Well, I think you can look at many things throughout history. Take 9/11, for example. Okay. You and I were adults and experienced 9/11, right?
Yep.
But your son, my nephew, I was having a conversation with my nephew a while back, and I was like, yeah, remember? And then on 9/11, and he was like, yeah, I wasn't born yet. So these things can fade over time and not be as impactful unless, your family unit is really serious about maintaining the reason for the tradition. Take Christmas, for example. Christmas is a commercial holiday in America. Okay. It has lost much of its Christian significance over the years. I mean, I would think that you might have experienced this as well. And I think that the further you get away from something, it does have the potential to wane in significance. So we could be experiencing some of that. And then you have the proliferation of a lot of stuff that has really, a lot of the control mechanisms have been decimated. Hollywood, news, the news media, magazines, all of that stuff that, people thought that they were informed, they were in a tight box. I always talk about the hearings, the church committee hearings in Congress, where they exposed decades ago that the CIA was basically writing your news, and telling you how to think. So unless you're really adept at understanding these things and being dogged about maintaining your faith tradition and the reason for it, then yeah, definitely it can wane in significance.
Now, Gimpy, you had something to say?
No, Jews agree with you, because Jews have a standing rule that a rabbi of one generation has to be able to, he can't overturn a generation that came before him, because every generation you get further away from the Mount Sinai deal, the less connected to the holiness you are. So therefore, the most likely wrong, being that someone was closer connect, right? Like, it's in order for you have to find someone from a generation before you that has some sort of loophole for you to exploit. I'm trying to keep it simple, but yeah, generationally, the further you get away from Sinai, the less holy you are, in terms of like how Jewish law is structured, especially with the rabbinate.
Now, was Easter a replacement of a pagan holiday, or is this?
The timing, sure. Christ was crucified in October or some shit. Not to be disrespectful, but like calendar-wise, he was not crucified in Easter.
Well, the Bible says he was crucified around the time of Passover.
I'm pretty sure that Easter is not an accurate timeline to the date, because they pick it to line up with the lunar stuff that meets the New Year.
Well, Easter also isn't in the Bible either, but the celebration of the crucifixion and the resurrection are said to be around the time of the Jewish Passover.
But you also have to take into account the manipulation of the calendars, and there was a lot of convenience in that for certain sovereigns and Roman emperors. So there is some manipulation there. There is some manipulation there.
And what's the point of the manipulation?
Well, convenience, actually making the calendar work to account for things like leap year.
Hold on.
Oh, that's true.
Hold on.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Okay.
He's making fun of me.
Yeah.
If I'm your pastor, you're in trouble.
Yeah, but
all right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just for the purpose, a lot of the manipulation of the calendar was done to just make it work, not to, because the leap years will throw you off after a certain amount of time. So they fixed that, which I think was really genius. Because I really don't even totally understand, all of the math that goes into that.
Well, they weren't using Common Core math.
The lunar calendar gives you a month for a leap year, by the way.
Okay.
Say that again.
Lunar calendar, you get a month in your leap year. The lunar
Okay.
calendar adds a whole month for leap year.
Well, lunar calendar is 28 days. I mean, a lunar month is about 28 days, though, right?
Yeah, but it could be, it all depends. It could be as long as 31. It's still calm. It can stretch. Lunar cycles are not even.
Yeah, that's
They're not
because
perfect.
the orbit is not circular.
Mhm.
It's a little oblique.
Yeah.
So that
Yeah.
causes some fluctuation.
In the beginning, there wasn't fixed calendars in Judaism. They had to have people come and testify that they saw the new moon to
Wow.
declare a
Or they
moon.
saw the full moon.
No, new moon, the full
Well, you
moon,
can't
new
see
moon,
the new
whatever.
moon.
They have to testify to the beginning of the
I
month.
see what you're saying. Yeah.
They had to
You
give
technically
because
you can't see the new moon because with
no,
type
it's
of
dark,
light,
but right.
yeah.
But it means that they saw the beginning, the waning, the waxing crescent or whatever.
waxy crescent, yeah.
But again, like that's the thing. That's also like Jewish holidays. So like Passover has 2 days in the beginning and 2 days at the end that are holy.
Mm-hmm.
In Israel, I think you only have one because time delay. Like in Israel, the holidays are shorter. I know for Sukkot, yeah, I'm pretty sure Passover also, right? That they shorten it by 1 day because the holidays don't have to overrun like that. Because in Israel, you're more likely to hit the date right, whereas outside of Israel, they judge it that you'll miss the day, so you have to have 2 to make sure that you're not missing the high holy day.
So all this is based off
All control, folks.
but a specific longitude and latitude, though, right? Like we kind of
Not
No,
necessarily.
it's based off your current. No, it's based off your regional location. See, that's the thing, because it could be slightly off from what you would see in Jerusalem. They add a day, so that way you don't miss the holy day because of the delay from you getting the new moon, hearing of the new moon, and it being different than what happens. That's the whole thing. They account for it by having less days in Israel than they do outside of Israel for high holy days.
Yeah, because you sync the calendar up for business purposes and for like scientific purposes, but culturally, a lot of different countries are doing their own thing.
Now,
China,
no,
for example,
now we have a fixed calendar, right? Like few centuries at this point, like many centuries, like maybe even 1,000 years. I forget exactly how long ago they fixed, but it's fixed only a certain amount of time. The dude only did it for like X amount of 1,000 years. He figured out the count, right? And they're building off of his calendar in perpetuity. They just keep reusing his cycles over and over for the calendar. But again, before that, everything was based on people testifying every month. Like that's what I mean, like control. That's a huge control mechanism. Your people are now invested in just the date. They have to get the date from the religious order because your month celebration is tied to it, hearing that someone testified at the Holy Temple that the month reset.
Mm-hmm.
It's not just good enough to look up in the sky and see it. There's an order to it. There's a purpose to it. There's an practice. I forget what the right word. Tradition.
Yeah.
I mean, it's from our perspective, every aspect is control. It's order.
So, what are your thoughts on that, Diamond? Dave, was Easter just to replace a pagan holiday or something else?
So, my limited understanding of it, I don't honestly know that much about like the dates and the timing of it. My anecdotal observation has been more of a cultural exchange, right? Because again, we have these similar holidays around the similar time, and as Christianity expands, there's the cultural exchange, and I think it's just done not necessarily as some people would say, like to intentionally like trick people into converting, but I think it just more adopted the local culture, like the local pagan cultures, and then like Gimpy was saying, you just build off of it in perpetuity to now we have chocolate bunnies and like Easter eggs for no reason. That I mean, I'm not a Bible scholar, but I don't recall any of that being in Sunday school.
Yeah.
So
I guess what's the point of adding to these religions, or we're adding extra stuff? Like what's the point of adding? I mean, is it not enough just to, and maybe I don't know what I'm asking here, but is it not just enough to recognize it as a renewal or a refreshing? Because I always think, at some point in time, every year, you should get back to the basics. You should just practice your fundamentals. Like if you're a sport, you should, if you're a basketball player, you should practice your free throws, practice your dribbles. If you're playing football, just practicing catching, just doing your shuttle drills. Like there's an element at the beginning of the year. You should always just focus on your fundamentals. And I think the same thing holds true, for, religious purposes. I think at some point you should always just go back to the fundamentals. It's just that cycle. So why is it that, is it not enough to just, go to the fundamentals, or do we have to have extra stuff for Easter and these religious holidays?
No.
My personal speculation is, when it comes to human beings in general, nothing is ever enough, and people want more stuff. So, I would think that, people they see new things, and that adds an element of curiosity. And then they take from those things what works and add it on to what they already believe, especially if the new thing is similar to, or, provides some value that's in line with they already believe. And I could go on an entire separate topic about that, because I have experience with that personally. So
and I'm gonna ask, in Hinduism, is there anything that maybe adds to the practices, or is there any element that is not just the fundamentals?
I'm going to make it pretty simple, because Hinduism spans 5,000 years, and Hinduism is literally a conglomerate of different cultures through intermarriage, exchange, and sometimes warfare and conquering, literally piling beliefs on top of each other to what we see today. That's why you can get different multiple accounts of, how many gods do Hindus have? Some have one, some have literally millions, because over the course of time, these small tribes just kind of got together in different ways and piled on top of each other. Hinduism is literally founded on that.
So how do you determine? I'm sorry, how do you determine what the way of life is?
Well, so if you look at Hindus throughout the world, and especially in India, there are core fundamentals, right? There's dharma, which is duty, as an example, right? So that's a fundamental universal across the board. But how it looks is going to vary based on what part of, say, India you are in. If you are in South India, you would most likely worship Lord Shiva, right? But if you're more to the north in the Deccan Plateau, then he is called Malhari. And that incarnation of Lord Shiva is a god of war. So it's going to be a lot of cultural aspects involved, and there's a lot of individual family traditions because of the bloodline as well. That's where I'm going to leave it at, because it's going to get really, really complicated at that point, because that's where the caste system comes in. And
okay.
All right, we'll have to do a whole episode about that, because now I'm confused. How do you pick which version of Hinduism that you want to follow or practice?
Usually it's by bloodline. If you're Indian, it's born by bloodline. And also, too, there's nothing really preventing, Hindus from picking up other gods or using other gods in various circumstances or other traditions. Then there's intermarriage, too. So, someone from Gujarat marries someone from Kolkata, then there's going to be a mix.
So that seems like the adding to the Hinduism practice, I guess, almost similar to the way commercialism has added to the Christianity practice. You just pick up stuff along the way.
Yeah, basically. But if we ever do a show on that, this could be an interesting topic, because going back to like people finding new things and adopting it if it's similar to their belief system, we could do a show on that, because I actually joined the Mormon Church for 4 years because of the similarities through Hinduism, and I left in 2024.
All right, we'll put a pin in that one, man. But go to you, Cisco, man. Well, no, let me actually go to Gimpy, because has anything been added to the Passover, or is it kind of just been a fundamental? You're muted right now.
Of course, man, because Passover used to be animal ritual sacrifices in Jerusalem. Everybody had to bring a sacrifice from wherever. Like I told you, they had to pilgrimage. Now you have a ceremonial meal to replace the practices that you couldn't do anymore without a holy temple. So definitely changed at some point after the destruction of the second holy temple. And to this day, people all have their own unique customs to how they practice that holy meal.
And is that decided by family, by region?
There are multiple things. If you're a Hasidic Jew, it's decided by your, what sect you belong to. Orthodox Jews, it could be family traditional thing, like depending on what sect of Judaism are, like what type of, if you're Mizrahi versus an Ashkenazi or a Sephardic Jew, you have different dietary laws. Sephardic Jews and Ashkenazi Jews have a disagreement on what's considered kidney. It's a form of things that aren't kosher for Passover. And Sephardic Jews, something like sesame seeds, for example. Sephardic Jews are okay with sesame seeds, whereas Ashkenazi Jews don't allow for sesame seeds on Passover. It's considered kidneys. So, again, and all of those things are unique customs. The original practice is pilgrimaging to Jerusalem, to the Holy Temple, to sacrifice an animal on the altar for your family,
Huh. I just find it interesting. What about you, Cisco? Why is there so much added to? Why isn't just the basics enough? Like, why can't we just celebrate Easter, the resurrection? Why do we have to add everything else to it?
Well, I think a lot has to do with commercialism. Diamond Dave talked about Easter chocolate Easter eggs, and Cadbury is good with that because they make a lot of money. A lot of what many think of as Easter traditions are derived from European fertility festivals, way back in the day. That's why you got the egg, because it symbolizes fertility. Just like Christmas with the Christmas tree.
And New Year. It was the traditional pagan New Year food also, I learned.
Okay. Or the rabbit. The rabbit is a symbol of fertility.
Definitely
Christmas, right? Christmas tree is a symbol. The fir tree is a symbol of
eternity.
Eternity, right?
Or some shit, right?
Right. You get these ancient traditions that over time are interspersed with Christian, and I'm sure the traditions of some other religions as well. But then you also have to add in the factor of capitalism and commercialism, especially in the US, where Christmas is big business. Easter is pretty decent. They do a pretty brisk business at Easter. I mean, tomorrow, Logic, you know this. You can drive down North Avenue and you will see all kinds of colorful 5-piece suits that people have purchased just for the day. I came from the market earlier today. They're doing a lot of hams flying off the shelves. So ancient traditions, commercialism, capitalism. There you go.
Man, I don't know, man. I guess I've never been one to get caught up in many of the I guess the commercial aspect of it. Like I can recognize the holidays for what they are,
Mhm.
And like I said, I appreciate the ritual of things, and I think there's value in that. But I do think
Is your
there's
kid homeschooled?
huh.
Is your kid homeschooled?
He was at one point in time, but not now. No.
But no, now he goes, so no, you are engaged in the commercialism. Your kid had a Easter egg party with an Easter egg hunt at school. Whether you were you were engaged in it because your kid was engaged in it.
No, he didn't. There wasn't an Easter egg party at the school.
Are you sure?
Pretty
Didn't
sure.
have for your kid?
I don't know.
I mean, all week at my wife's school, they've been having Easter egg party. You know, like Easter
Well,
parties.
she goes to she's a Catholic school, isn't she?
Dude, they have Easter stuff for little kids in elementary school too. Like, because it's not a religious holiday, it's a state holiday, and they celebrate it commercially in those places. Like, well, your kid's older now too, sorry. So, but like little kids dude, my whole neighborhood, everybody just brought their kid to go get eggs. None of them are religious people. None of them are going to church tomorrow. Like maybe 1/3 of those people that were roaming around with their kids today, collecting these eggs and taking pictures with the Easter bunny, are going to church. And
I did go to the Easter at the I did go to the White House Easter last year though.
I mean, but that's because you're an important person and get invites places. Well, soon to be lieutenant governor over here will get us invites, but I am not getting invited on my own merit anywhere.
And I think Logic knows me well enough to know that I don't do the whole social scene. So if you're relying on me,
but I want your invite. When they send a lieutenant governor, I'll just go in your stead.
This lieutenant governor's gonna be like, remember Michael Jackson would get a lot of awards back in the 80s, but he would never show up to the act. Someone would always accept the award for him.
That's what I'm saying. Just send me. That way I can get an invite finally.
Man, you got to stop hiding behind your name tag, man. I can't see you, bro.
Dude, make me sit up for like an hour straight.
Your back hurt, man. I thought you'd been in the gym.
That's why I want to lay down.
Well, I mean, to Cisco's point, I do think there's definitely a commercial, like the commercialism aspect, like Cadbury and other companies for like Christmas and things like that. And I've noticed that's also like very much in America, somewhat in Europe. And then when you start to get in the East, then it's just like, it just kind of like drops off because Christmas is not a holiday here. Banks and schools are open. Today is technically Easter. I don't think it's a national holiday. So it really just kind of depends where in the world you are. Mm-hmm. And from what I've heard, like Christians in Africa celebrate Easter very differently than in the US.
Man, you think those Nigerians that were, just getting harassed by who? Boko Haram? Do you think they are having Easter bunny hunts and Easter egg hunts?
No.
And you raise a good point, actually, because that is, we've talked about this before, how we enjoy a level of decadence over here in the West, particularly in the United States, where, there's real Christian persecution out there. Okay, where people are in mortal danger for their religion, and it's not just Christians. There's persecution of almost all religions. All right, but in America, we really don't. We can waste time with liberation theology and what's the other one? The prosperity gospel.
Prosperity gospel, yeah.
Right. We can get into garbage like that. It gets so far away from doctrine, right? Meanwhile, like you said, with Nigeria, okay, you got Christians that are in fear for their lives, in other parts of the world. So that's another reason why our faith has been watered down here in America. Yeah. Absolutely.
In Israel, is there that same watering down of the holidays though too? Because when I was in Israel, man, I was only there for 2.5 months, but it's a happy place, but at the same time, it's like on guard. Like everybody's on guard all the
Sure.
time. You know what I mean? And maybe there's just a way of life and you just live like that, but it seems
you
like there's not
understand,
a level, there's not the same level of decadence, maybe, or maybe I'm just misinterpreting it. Go ahead, Gimpy.
in Israel, are you saying, do they, like, you understand that like only 40% would be considered religious in Israel? 60% easy, if not 70% is secular. That whole secular, just because like the Sabbath it's closed or the country is shut down for Passover, for the high holy days, they still have stuff open.
I mean,
People
yeah,
still go
no.
to work. Not everybody, and secular Jews do traditional things. They don't practice the same way the religious practice. It's the same sort of thing. People do what they think is right for them and theirs, and they choose to abide by that, whether it's the secular Jew who does a traditional Seder with his Reform temple or something. Everybody has their own practice over there. To say that it's no different than here. There are plenty of people who it's totally just a song and dance show for them that they put on for their neighbors so they feel good about themselves. There are plenty of religious people who treat it that way. People just suck generally. And that's why, right, for you guys, Jesus had to die for your sins because we suck generally. I'm just saying, like, you got to stop thinking that there's some giant divide between all of us. Like, there's a big thing I noticed since I've been on YouTube, man. Everybody thinks like there's a massive difference between groups. They're really not.
Yeah.
They're all the same sort of dysfunction. Jews are dysfunctional like blacks, like Christians. Like, you can pick a group and it's just the dysfunction is basically the same. Maybe not proportionally the same amount, but you have this sort of dysfunction or that. And people are obsessed with like what the difference is. Dude, we have far more in common in our dysfunction than we do different. It's far more likely that a secular Jew and a secular Christian have way more in common in how they view the world, how they practice their beliefs. And the same go for a devout Christian and a devout Jew. I think that they would have way more in common ultimately if given.
Is there
That's why
any,
I'm blown away.
is there anything equivalent to the prosperity gospel in Judaism?
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, please. There's this concept called Tikkun HaOlam, right? And now they use it as like a hippie cure-all.
Oh, so first off, Diamond Dave, do you understand what prosperity gospel is?
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that.
Okay. All right.
Right into the audience.
Well, so prosperity gospel is the name it and claim it. If you believe it, you can see it. Kind of Joel Osteen-esque type sermons where it's more about God wants you to have money versus saving your soul and things like that. That's kind of the oversimplified version. But go ahead.
You forgot one important part.
Which one?
Give God 10% of your gross, not your net, and He, the Master of the universe, will give you some sort of material gain in exchange.
Yeah. There we go.
That is Mormonism in a nutshell.
Yeah.
Really?
You guys don't think that that's true with secular Judaism too, but like with the lesser than, and even the religious within the religion, like what would be considered the ultra religious sects, right? Like the ones like Orthodoxy and above, right? But like, you don't think that the Reformed synagogue isn't out there changing the rules the same way all what prosperity gospel lets you do it, and for the new social justice thing, and God is love, and we get rid of all the punishment from religion so that we have more palatable. I mean, shit, Reformed Judaism is born out of the concept that you need to make Judaism more like Christianity. Did you know that?
No.
Yeah, Reformed Judaism is basically, and the original Reformed synagogues in Germany are like churches that they bought. Failed churches.
Really?
Well, dude, the whole thing was to give it more of a assimilated feel so that Jews blended in with their German counterparts who were Christian. That's what Reformed Judaism is. In its core, that's what it was born of in the 1850s. That's why it's so funny when I hear people talk about like Jews and communism and how Jews are responsible, right? Like the Jews. Most of the shit that they complain about is Jews trying to obliterate their Jewish identity.
Mm.
It's only in the modern day all of a sudden do they care about Jews being Jews in the way that they talk about. Otherwise, they just used to kill those Jews. It's the secular Jews, the ones that change the religion to fit in, that they fear the most. And all they tried to do is be more like you guys. They didn't want to be uniquely Jewish. They wanted to water down their Judaism so like you guys accepted us. I mean, that's the entire purpose of Reform Judaism, is so that it mirrors Christianity better and it has more of a Christian feel to it. It's a modernization of Judaism.
Man, just keep making the case for a savior.
Changes all the rules all the time because that's its founding, is to make it modern.
Man, keep making the case for a savior, man. We all need to be saved. What do you say, Cisco?
I don't mean to play program director, but I would like to mention that we are on our way to the moon.
Yes, we are. Did you see pictures of how the Earth is not flat in high definition? I'm just saying, because that's all AI. That's not real. It can't be real that we're in space, traveling to the moon, sending pictures of how the world is not flat in high definition. No, that's
you will never. They actually flew some flat earthers to Antarctica.
I remember,
so that they could witness the 24-hour sun. Okay, and they still were like, "Yeah, we don't believe it." So
that dude that did it, that dude was that one flat earther guy that did it. He lost a bunch of followers because of that. He was like, "You sold out, man." Like, well, I saw the truth, man.
It's weird how Earth is flat, but every other celestial body is round. That you look.
I would argue that because we've taken religion and made it take a back seat, it has opened the door to all this insanity that everyone's looking for an answer where there are no answers. I mean, the whole
do you think
its whole purpose? Religion is a side note for most people.
So you think there should be a more focus on religion versus?
Dude, the whole world used to run, even when we were pagans. The whole world ran on religion. The whole world has run on religion until, let's arguably say, 1850. 1850 thereabouts is when all of religion starts going sideways, like completely. That's when the modernization and the reformations of religion occur.
Adding stuff to it, huh?
That's when it starts, basically, for all the major. And since then, it's just been happening. Even Hindus, he'll tell you, Diamond Dave will tell you, man, go into American Hindu communities, and you will find all of a sudden a vast secularizing of Hindu beliefs and traditions that somehow you're like, wait, is this really what it? And it's not like you feel like they're doing something like it's not a negative statement about, but America has a way of taking the sting out of it all. I mean, I'm trying to be nice, dude, but it has a way of bastardizing everything in order to secularize it. That's what this country's culture is. It's taking the doctrine of every other culture and secularizing it, and then absorbing it and Hellenizing it and making it a part of the whole. And that's what we've been trying to do for 250 years. And because some groups resist, it backfires terribly. You have places like Dearborn, Michigan. I'm just saying, like, that's what the problem is. Like, people think everything's very complicated. It's not. Life is much simpler than we want to give it credit for. We're just unwilling to admit what we fucking are. Everybody's too afraid to admit exactly what we are and what we're doing with our time on this planet. I mean, Hindus got it right. That's their whole thing, is this is what we are and this is how we spend our time on our planet. I mean, that's their take on it and why they have it all from the other direction than we do. But
so are we guilty of our own success then when it comes to?
Yeah.
From my perspective, 100%.
Go ahead, Donna.
I was gonna say, yeah, because like I agree, and like especially with what Gimpy and Cisco said as well too. It's like the amount of decadence in America is just blows my mind to where. And I've actually done this recently, but like when with like the flat earth and going to the moon and stuff, I literally started arguing the moon does not exist and people believed me. Like,
Hold on, were you trolling? You were just
oh yeah, I was trolling because people were arguing about whether or not we had been to the moon, and I'm like, you guys can't possibly believe in the moon, can you? And then some people were like, how do you not believe in the moon? And then I just asked them, have you been to the moon? If not, how can you prove it's there?
That's genius.
And then it just devolved into some people saying, well, maybe the moon isn't real. And I'm like, you guys, like, it's I don't know. I think the kind of the decadence, and not just decadence, but also to like success, because we talked about, like, the persecution earlier, that just Americans do not face at all.
At all.
Right.
And also, this
I like logic, but I mean, if he and I were to ever go to India together, there are parts of India I would not take him to, because he would be killed for being a Christian. And I would
dude,
be
you're too
killed,
dark.
I would be killed for betraying my religion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Like,
dude.
yeah, you would not do that. Like,
Dude, this comment is a demonstration of it. Like, that's not true. We were not very religious till the 1960s. We were not religious since the end of the westward expand. Like, seriously, like around the Civil War, it was the end of real strict religion in the United States. They pretended, they tried to make the government enforce religious values in order to hold it steady, but America was rapidly secularizing after the 1850s. Rapidly.
I would actually go back much further. I would go back to actually the 1600s, and I would say that when the wealthy, who were usually like tied into the religious leadership, when they had to pervert Christianity to excuse slavery, I think that actually was like a poison pill.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I'm saying it as an institutional thing. So maybe I'm not being clear because I'm just taking for granted everybody can read my mind. I'm saying that the 1850s is a Western civilization institutional thing. I forget what it is, but a school of philosophy arises out of Germany around then. That's why Reform Judaism is born. It's all born out of some sort of school of thought that becomes highly popular, right? And that's what begins this mass secularization of religion, right? Like that you have to make religion modern. You have to make it fit this modern world. It's not the same anymore. We live in a much more enlightened state because we have all these things available to us, and we're more evolved people. So religion needs to change to match that. I forget what it's called, but that's where this whole thing comes from. And that's what I mean when I say 18, like it's around that time that's born, that concept.
Well, and even institutionally too, like I just remember learning about in school, like during that quote unquote Wild West era, there were brothels all over the place.
Sure.
And they were like run by the government.
The past, especially for America, the Old West, there's a lot of romanticization about the past in general. But you see Clint Eastwood, which is one of my favorite actors. You see a romanticized version of the past that leaves out a lot of really, really harsh realities of the Old West. There's a movie out there called Bone Tomahawk. And I don't know if you guys have ever seen this movie, but it really lays bare the brutality and the callousness of the Old West. There are no gunfighters here doing that whole thing. Check this movie out. It's got Kurt Russell. It is wild. It is wild.
I think I don't know. I think we need some of the struggle back though, right? Because again, it seems like, I don't know if you guys feel this, right? As you, I don't know, progress in life, there is this like inner desire to maybe know more, or maybe the way Diamond Dave put it, just like be at peace. And you can acquire amount of stuff that you wish. You can do all the dirty things that you wish, or whatever, but then there's still something inside that feels like it's an emptiness. So you start seeking, or you start searching, and I don't know if you guys feel that. Like, is it time now that we're seeing an emptiness, because there has been a period of success in America. There has been a period of abundance. Like, we got fat poor people, right? There's this period of abundance. So do you think there is something that's saying we're searching for more, we want something,
Absolutely, because the apex of Maslow's hierarchy of needs is self-actualization, but that has been replaced with materialism. And then at some point, people figure out you can't buy your way to self-actualization. Okay, so yeah, you got the car, you got the house, you got the clothes, but how do you become a better you? What is your full potential? It is not going out and being able to purchase something. And until humanity, and I know Chaotic would agree with me on this, until humanity has a collective realization around that, we can't make the next step.
Never happening.
And it might not ever happen, but
no, it's never happening, dude. Because we had a conversation. One of my brethren started coming up on CT's panel. Very nice guy, a little bit older than me guy, I think. He's learned enough. No, like, I'm not knocking him, dude, but he doesn't even understand. For as smart as the guy he is, he couldn't conceive how the type 1 civilization, right? Like that chart, that scale worked. Like, it didn't make sense to him, because so many smart people are fixated with the trivial things that are still tying us, right? He was talking about the limitless potential of the human mind, and that's the last. Dude, type 1 civilization, all that shit's done. Because we came up with limitless energy, we had enough time and zero struggle. We have infinite resources. We came up with an answer to every social problem, and now all we have left is to conquer every other planet in the solar system. And because smart people don't understand, like, they can't even understand the concept of, right? Again, I'm not just knocking this one. I'm using it as an example of a guy I think very highly of, very intelligent man. And they just don't get it. We're never getting there because people cannot put aside the basic human condition to realize what it takes to solve those problems. They're too busy. They want to be right more than effective. Tony Robbins, that thing that Tony Robbins came up with. By the way, if anybody doesn't know that, you should all look into Tony Robbins' shtick about being right versus being effective. And you should go watch that whole TED Talk thing he does about it. Right? Because if you don't know about it, it's really good. He said you can either be right or you can be effective. You can hardly ever be both. Most people choose to be right versus being effective. If you really want to master life, choose to be effective. And I constantly do that every day, and I can tell you every time I do it, I hit success at my job.
It in the formative years in especially the public school system. That whole structure is built around discouraging wrong answers. Where if you look at a highly effective person, Elon Musk, okay, he had to repeatedly tell the world that these explosions on the pad, those are learning experiences.
Yeah,
we're collecting data from that to make this thing work at some point. Okay, so but the masses are inculcated into the belief that, I don't want to raise my hand because I might be wrong, and a lot of times they're right. But you see it on social media with people arguing points that make no sense, but they have, like you said, Gimpy, they have to be right, and that definitely is a detriment. It's a break on progress.
Dom, you got anything to add, bro?
No, I mean, they pretty much hit it spot on. So,
all right. So while we got a break, man, just go ahead and make sure you guys go to metroconservativemedia.com. You can check out all the Just the Guys podcasts, all the stuff there. You can also check out our merch store. Go to Just the Guys
my shirt
store.
Buy my shirt.
Yes, and his shirt is the toasters. I'm gonna pull up the tank top because Gimpy is the tank top master. So no, so no 80% are no better than a toaster. I may have to update the short because I misspelled is.
No, maybe that was the
No,
toaster
no.
part of you that spelled that.
Well,
That's the whole point. It's supposed to be bad grammar.
Oh, it's supposed to be bad. Okay, I got you.
Supposed to be bad grammar.
I misspelled is, so you know.
Okay, I got you.
So guys, and also if you haven't already, join the Discord. From now on, if you want to get on the panel, I am going to put the link to join the show in the Discord. So if you're not part of the Discord, you won't be able to join the panel. Hop in the Discord. It's right here on the Metro Conservative Media website, and I think our mods also have the link as well. They can share it. You can join the Metro Conservative Media General channel, the Pop and Politics channel, the Christian Conservative channel, and the Just the Guys channel. And Diamond Dave has been, I think he's been a fire starter in the chat as well, doing the
Fire starter.
Yeah, man, he's a fire starter, bro. I like having you around, bro. Like you've been a great add to the community recently, man. And I appreciate you even joining in from Mongolia. If you haven't checked out Diamond Dave's channel, he does these really cool Fallout 4 cleanups, man. He's
lives,
man. He just did a stream not too long ago, and it is 7:47 in Mongolian beef time right now. So yeah, man.
7:47 a.m.
Yeah, 7:47 a.m.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, man.
Dude, he did a CT show one day.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
Wait, hold on. So Diamond, what do you think of CT show, man?
Holy shit. Like that was, I mean, I don't know. The people seem cool. The chat seems cool. Even the trolls, like I kind of like the trolls because in like CT's, chat, the trolls are actually funny. Like, so they're cool. Yeah, it was interesting.
Yeah, man. All
right, so yeah, the bottom side of YouTube. If you can survive there, you can pretty much survive anywhere on YouTube.
Does anybody here remember Morton Downey Jr.?
Yes.
CT is the modern day Morton Downey Jr.
He wants that. He wants to be like somewhere between Howard Stern, Andy Kaufman. Like, you understand that some of the shit just makes him laugh. That's why he lets it happen.
That's why I never fell into his trolling about
I believe he's trolling.
Academy. He's trolling.
I believe
dude, he loves it. He is so upset that they canceled it after 2 seasons, right? They know that they're not going to approve it for a third now. And he's mad how it went. Like, he was really banking on that Klingon wasn't gay.
It's Diamond Dave. You just recently watched that conservative spin.
I'm glad you brought that up because I had several points I wanted to talk with him about.
Cool.
But one thing I will touch on since we're on the subject is something that Cisco said. Why would you program a fat hologram, right? And I was thinking about that, and like I'm a Star Trek fan, I'm a Star Wars fan. I even do like the online MMO games of Star Trek Online where it takes all the voice actors from Deep Space Nine and Star Trek Voyager and it continues on, right? And I was thinking about that and I'm like, I feel like fans, if there was even some like stupid story, like if she had a backstory, people I think would maybe give it much more of a pass, right? Much more of a pass and overlook it. Why is there an obese hologram? Well, there was, a Starfleet officer who lost his wife and daughter in a brain attack, and he programmed, his wife and daughter with an aging matrix, and off she went to kind of honor her father.
And it took you 10 seconds to come up with that.
Yeah, but that's not why they came up with 100 of those. Shit, they had ChatGPT come up with 300 of those for them. That's not why they didn't do this, because that's not why they made her fat and roly-poly. They made her fat and roly-poly, so fat and roly-poly watch that shit and feel like, oh, hey, I could go to space too, except for the fact that they can't fit in the tiny little capsule those 4 people
But
had
the
to be
thing
shot
about
up
that,
into.
but the thing about that is that's bad strategy, right? So one of the people that I follow who talks about this, like Star Trek Academy and like other shows in general, like there's Nerdrotic, but there's also Snarky J, and Snarky J talks about how like how entertainment is a vehicle for a message. Why don't people care about the LGBTQ being in like Deep Space Nine? Well, because it's not beaten over your face repeatedly. It just happens to be there for 5 seconds and has nothing to do with the plot. Right? It's packaged in a way to where you can like feed it to people and make it digestible. Now, if you want to take that ideology, I personally don't give a shit either way. But if they wanted to take that ideology with Star Trek Academy, Starfleet Academy, then the smartest move is to come up with all these backstories, because then that way the older fans can like have an excuse to write it off instead of review bomb it and let it get canceled. It's just bad strategy.
No, because they don't like, again, did you hear what Kurtzman said when they canceled it?
Which one? He had a lot to say. He had a lot of stupid stuff to say.
His big thing that he said is it's not going to stop him from doing more what he sees as Roddenberry's version of DEI in all the shows. Crazy. But dude, he quintupled. Like, let's be clear, this motherfucker didn't double down, didn't triple down, didn't quadruple down. He quintupled down on, I don't care that the audiences don't like it. I'm going to keep giving it to you till you take it. And like they don't care anymore.
But that's what killed the Acolyte. That's what killed Star Wars Acolyte.
They don't care. They're still going to get funded for the next one for 2 seasons. It's not a matter of 5 seasons. They just keep needing to get hired for the next show. They don't care if the shows last. None of them are tied to any of this work.
And it's funny because Star Trek is the last franchise you needed to do that with, because it had already been there, done that. I mean, this is the show. You just
have to keep doing it the way they did it.
This is the show that featured the first interracial kiss. Okay, back a few years removed from the Civil Rights Act passing. Okay, go read the story of Nichelle Nichols, the woman that plays Uhura. She tells the account of everything that they went through just to film that one scene. Okay, the government was involved, and
they had the FCC.
When you read that, you will come out of that. I love William Shatner, but when you read that, you'll have an all new respect for William Shatner.
Let me ask real quick, because is this a sign of low intelligence now that everything has to be spoon fed versus you can see the artwork in it and get an analogy? Maybe you might not see the same thing someone else saw here, but you can infer different things or come up with what the creator meant on certain things. Now it's just like, this is exactly what the creator meant. This is what the message that they want us to hear. Like, where is the thinking element? Is that
it's not there, because again, with Star Trek, all of those franchises, we have moved on beyond interspecies squabbles. We were just humans. Okay.
But you say you're just humans, but there were messages or key points, or you remember the moral of the story, right? Mm-hmm. Like Aesop Fables, it wasn't telling you exactly what, or even Jesus with the parables. It's not telling you exactly what you need to learn, but it's giving you an example so you can infer different things.
Perfect example. And this is why you need to take some time and actually watch Star Trek. Because what you're talking about was done on a weekly basis with classic tracks. So there's an episode called Let This Be Our Last Battlefield. And it's about these 2 aliens who they're in a racial dispute, okay? And they're trying to kill each other. And the whole ship is like, damn, what's going on here? And there's a scene where they say, well, why are you guys fighting? And then they're like, isn't it obvious? And they're like, no. And they're like, well, he's black on the right side and white on the left side. And I'm white on the right side and black on the left side. And that's why they want to kill each other. Okay. They ended up destroying their entire planet. And even though it was a little campy, it really put in high relief the absurdity of hating someone because of their skin color. Okay. And the Enterprise flew off like, wow, those guys were weird, man, because here we are, a bunch of humans and some aliens, and we're all getting along. We transcended that, you know.
Yeah, but now that message has to be spoon fed you.
Well,
Again, what did you expect was
here's
gonna
the thing. It's not even. I don't even think it's that deep. I don't even think it's that deep because when I watched Starfleet Academy, it felt like Degrassi from like the 2000s,
Nice.
right? It's like a bunch
Oh,
of
the new
it's
Degrassi, not
Yeah.
even the old Degrassi.
Yeah.
The new
exactly the new Degrassi.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of like high school kids like learning to get along with all these romance things going on. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay, that's fine, but this doesn't feel like Star Trek to me. But to Logic's question, I think it's not even necessarily being spoon-fed like specific ideas. I feel like they have to cater to like Gen Z and Gen Alpha to get new people into Star Trek. And they grew up on like 20-second TikToks and like cringe relationships. And if that's not there, they're not going to watch it. So they have to like, yeah, they have to fundamentally they have to remove the intellectual side of Star Trek and put in a bunch of bullshit to get them to even watch it in the first place.
What's up, Gimpy?
No, you're even overcomplicating it or giving it too nice. Maybe you're just a nice guy. Hindus are generally nice people, so that I met. So maybe it's just you're a nice guy, but dude, no. How many generations can't read and write at grade level? How many kids, right? We sit here, we talk about it for what, 15, 20 years, that all these people can't read and write it. They're 9, 10. Now they're the consumers of television, goods, services. They're 20, they're 30. If you're 35 and under, there's a realistic chance you can't spell without a computer. Based on the statistics that they tell us. I mean, whether that's true or not, I don't know, man. But I'm going to rely on that there's some truth to it because my wife's a teacher and she says they're all stupid as fuck. And that's her biggest problem. And the parents are the worst enemy these days because they all want to be right instead of effective. But yeah, dude, we have idiots.
So this is the only way to create content, right? You can't create content that you have to think.
Yeah, dude, the 80%. Have you ever watched Yellowstone?
I haven't watched it yet.
So there's a scene late, I think season 4 or season 5, where Kevin Costner's sitting with I forget what his name is. Anyhow, and they're talking, and Kevin Costner's, the world has been run by weak people, made for weak people, run by weak people to protect weak people, something like that. He gives this whole thing. It's what it is now.
Yeah.
The idiots amongst us are in charge. The dumbest, literally the dumbest of us are in charge at a mass scale, regardless of party or political affiliation or religious belief. If you look around, we are surrounded by fake influencers who claim to be everything under the sun across the whole spectrum. Everybody's trying to turn a dollar with it. They're all trying to make a living, whether they're claiming to be a Christian, a Jew, a Muslim, a left, a right, a Zionist, an anti-Zionist. You name it. Everybody tries to find a label and monetize it, because earlier somebody was talking about, I think it was you, Tyrone, said something about materialism. We're well beyond materialism now. It's all about clicks and likes. It's not even about tangibles anymore. Materialism at least was trying to fill your emptiness in your soul with something you could touch, feels. Now it's with a serotonin hit because you got to hit a heart on something, or someone hit a heart on your thing, or reshared your thing, or people said something about your thing. That's what we live for as a culture across the globe. It doesn't matter what country it is. The Chinese have the same problem we do. It's not limited to East versus West. This is something that once we gave everybody the ability to talk to each other instantly, this was an unanticipated side effect.
Mm.
Here we are surrounded in totality by people who are obsessed with clicks and likes. And
So-
our entire society runs on, I don't care what anybody wants to say. Name me the percentage of people who are unplugged versus the people who are jacked into the internet. Because I know everybody I know who claims to be unplugged is full of shit, dude. They're all jacked in one way or another. It's just some way they lie to themselves about being impacted by the whole click like cycle. I'm sorry, like that's what it is, man. It's not materialism anymore.
Yeah,
It's that we're obsessed with others' opinions.
So what? It took us about what 50 years now to get back to the moon. With the rate of
1974.
With the illiteracy rate is what it is now. How long do you think it'll take this after this mission to go back to the moon?
Hey, also remember that we went to the moon before the establishment of the Department of Education.
Clip that. There we go. All right, go ahead.
Yeah. So, you know, you do have folk out there that whose parents are heavily vested in their education. You have that. The question, I think, would be, can we produce someone who's going to walk on the surface of Mars? Can we produce that person in a public school? I mean, Logic, you have a lot of experience with that. Can we do that?
I mean, I came from public schools, though. I mean,
yeah, but that's a different era.
Yeah, and look at you, man. You can barely read.
I know.
It was a different era.
I have trouble.
I mean, look, when I was going to school, right, we didn't know the sexual preference of our teachers.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Right. I mean, today that's just all
they were all married.
You
didn't even know if they were single.
You didn't know, it wasn't even in your mind. You know what I mean? The only people that came in and read stories, I remember Officer Friendly came in and read us a story. There were no drag queens that came in and read stories to us. In fact, if anyone would have suggested that, there would have been a riot. There would have been a violent riot if this suggestion had been made. And anyone who came up in their formative years were the 70s and 80s, they know that's true.
Yeah. Most people don't know this, but I grew up in the South. And I grew up in, around country and whatever. But yeah, like these additional things, they weren't an issue. Like pronouns and stuff. Like we did the basics. I was in a gifted and talented class, all that stuff. And we just, but even the kids that weren't in the GT classes, like it was reading and writing, repetition. I remember going home doing 40 math problems. Like you had to do 40 math problems all the way up to 12th grade. Not every night, but just you had the basics. And I saw We Watched YouTube put a comment in that Mississippi, the state of Mississippi, went back to hooked on phonics, and those kids are reading well above. They moved from 39th in the country to 9th in a matter of 2 or 3 years of their literacy rate. So they're trying to get the number one. So maybe the next astronauts will come from Mississippi. There's a lot of stuff going on in Jackson, in Alabama. There's a tech hub going on in Birmingham.
Dude, as soon as vibe coding becomes the norm and not as soon as people rely on the AI to be able to fix itself, right? Because right now that's the problem. The reason why vibe coding isn't a thing is because once you don't know your own product, how are you supposed to fix it, right? When the AI does all the work to create it, how are you supposed to maintain it? But once we get to a point where we think AI can do that successfully and people stop being afraid of the no human in the AI loop scenario, or at least the George Jetson setup, where it's just a single human for an entire industrial effort, you will see how quickly humans allow their intelligence to plummet to zero in order to have convenience and luxury. We will be the Wall-E civilization rolling around in our chairs.
We'll be not just that, we'll be the Star Trek Discovery and Starfleet Academy. Right. Like basic problem.
Everybody swallowing their comm badge, right?
Yeah, well, swallowing their comm badge, or even like basic things. It's like, how do we get to this location without being seen? And then someone's like, why don't we try wearing a disguise? And everyone's like, holy shit, what a great idea.
Idiocracy is a documentary at this point.
Yeah, it's not, man. Well, all right, man. But go ahead.
It's a documentary is terrifying.
Yeah.
I just want that to be clear. That idiocracy became real.
Yeah, man, it is. It is crazy. Yeah, but it did.
To the point that Mike Judge had to say something about it. That's how true it is, man. How dumb we are. Dude, we literally... I love a lot of Trump's policies. I am not... And I voted for him 3 times. I'm not going to hide from that. But he is literally Hector Macho Camacho as president. Okay? We are in the Hector Macho Camacho days. I would have voted for Hector Macho Camacho in Idiocracy, too. I want to make that clear to everybody. I would have definitely voted for him. But we are there, folks. Like, literally, we cannot have a government. Think about it. Tyrone, me and you are old enough. You might, Giovanni, you might not be old enough because you were younger at the time. But at the height of the Cold War in the 80s, were there leaks every day to the news about everything going on in Reagan's White House?
No.
Tyrone, right?
No.
These things that we consider normal now, the deep throat style of everything, where there's all these leaks, like the government wasn't a giant sieve in the 80s.
But, I always tell you guys what happened was C-SPAN and 24-hour cable news. And once you got that, you had folks less interested in being statesmen than they were in being celebrities. So everybody's on camera now, and they got to play to that camera. And that's how you get Jasmine Crockett. That's how you get Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Like, share, and subscribe.
Yeah,
that's what it is. I'm telling you, we are obsessed with the like, share, and subscribe loop. Like, dude, we're a part of it. We are engaging in it now. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it has an unintended consequence. People are more obsessed with what someone on the other side of the world who means nothing to them thinks than what their best friend standing right next to them thinks.
Yeah.
But I will say this. I will say this for this platform and others. There are a lot of platforms out there that willingly trade the massive viewership for actual discussion of substantive issues and arguments.
That's us.
Yeah, it is. And it definitely is soldiers of finance who can't crack. We can't crack.
Oh, yeah. Everybody
300 views now, right?
Yeah.
So whatever. But you also have to take stock in the fact that, we are still speaking to a global audience. I mean, you got Diamond Dave on here from Mongolia. All right? So that power, just take it back to 1990. Where the hell would you have gone, and how much would you have had to pay for what we're doing right now?
Yeah.
It would have been cost prohibitive.
Yeah.
Dude, well, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna say this real quick because I moved from Utah when I was out there to Mongolia. If we were the same age now in 1990, this conversation wouldn't exist, first of all. But B, I wouldn't have even met my wife or moved to Mongolia because Mongolia was in really rough shape in the 90s.
Okay.
It's still it's gotten a lot better, but on topic, little bit of a sidetrack, but in a past show, people were talking about the communist show that you sent me, the socialist show Logic. This is one of the points I wanted to bring up, is even socialist countries like here in Mongolia, they add, it's a hybrid. They add elements of capitalism. I moved here and there are robots you know, as waiters. There's delivery, just like in America. And you could even go to Shangri-La Market, like a major mall. Like it's massive, right? And there's like AI kiosks that will translate your language for you, right?
Wow.
Yeah, here's the thing. 2 years ago, that did not exist. No delivery services, nothing, none of that. 2 years ago. But because the government adopted, you know, different capitalist policies, that's what enabled these things to happen.
It's crazy how fast that turned around. Then, like 2 years is.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, but that's the point. It's like, you know, the power that the internet gives us now, it's kind of I don't know the correct word for this, but it's basically a really powerful tool that can do wonderful things, or it can destroy, you know, people's sanity, you know?
Yeah.
Wow.
That's the human brain too. The human brain is a powerful tool. It can be used for good or used as a force for evil. And that's
Mine
wild,
only works for evil. I'm sorry.
All right, guys, we're gonna get out of here, but I do want to just kind of get you guys' thoughts on the Artemis 2 being launched. I watched that live, and it was one of those moments where it was like USA, and I did shed a tear when it launched. I wanted to get you guys a kind of reaction. What did you think when you saw that, Cisco? You know, how did that, I don't like saying make you feel, but like what kind of reaction did it bring from you?
Well, you know me, I'm right there with CT in terms of longing for that civilization where we prioritize exploration, scientific achievement. And I saw it, you know, sure, this is an American-backed initiative, but anything in space, exploration-wise, I see it as a win for the species. And I see it as something that, you know, makes me hope that, you know, we can do more of this kind of thing. And maybe I'm being idealistic about it. I'm sure, again, people say I'm being idealistic about it, but I just thought that it was a spectacular achievement, not just technically, not just mathematically, but the desire to want to go and start to push out beyond our biosphere. To me, that's huge.
I mean, there was over 1,500 people involved, you know, in the Artemis 2 mission. I mean, when you think about a team of 1,500 people, that's no small feat, right? And you're talking about calculations, you're talking about things that need to be perfect, right? Absolutely. Like everything has to work. You know, but Gimpy, like what was your kind of reaction, you know, when you saw that?
It was all AI, it's all fake. Earth is flat. We live in what's it called? A dome. A firmament.
Right.
And the stars and the moons and stuff is just lights in the sky. It's not real. Sorry. It's all fake. It's all green screens. And wires and shit. All those people are paid actors outside of Cape Canaveral. What else did I miss?
You missed the fact that there were a couple women on that flight, and we all know women are not real. They're
right. Oh, yeah. There we go. Right.
Yeah.
The women on the internet, and I saw it on the internet, so it can't be real. I mean,
exactly.
It's amazing what AI can do today. That's all I can say. The Earth is not flat, right? I have a picture now, modern and high definition, thanks to AI, that the Earth is not flat. I mean, dude, it's fucking important shit that we're going back to the moon. I'm amazed that people think the Earth is flat. Copernicus died for this shit. And like the funniest part is the churchers,
right?
It's the churcher Bible thumpers that are the craziest about the flat Earth. And it's their people who gave in to Copernicus in the end and said, you know what, bud, you're right. You proved us wrong. Every time when we see the sun go like this, it means you're right and we're wrong. And yet here we are 2,000 years later or whatnot, and they're literally doing the same shit over again. Dude, does that not blow your mind how dumb that represents humanity has come? We live literally come full circle. Literally. Like there isn't even a gap between it. It's stupid Bible thumpers believe everything that some weirdo drunk priest told them once. Back. stupid Bible thumpers believe drunk priests told them the earth was flat on YouTube. Like, I'm serious. Like, literally, what is it, like 1,800 years or something since Copernicus?
Now, do you think we need dumb people to, maybe so we don't go too far?
No,
Dude, dude, holy fuck, if we need these dumb people, I mean, you gotta be fucking
because think
kidding.
about this.
Dude, there is literally an 8K picture of a globe,
And now you don't
landing
even
in space, and people are telling us it's fake and it's flat.
the most basic understanding of math. All you need is a buddy in DC and 2 sticks that you can put in the ground. That's literally all you need to prove that the earth is not flat. Oh, and a cell phone, so you can call them and say, all right, it's noon here. Well, it's noon would work, but it's 1 o'clock here, and it's 1 o'clock there. Give me the angle, calculate the degrees off of your shadow in relation to your stick, and I'll give you mine. And if they're different, which they will be, then that means that you're on a sphere. Okay. But I mean, we had the conversation about the public school system, so
that's what I'm saying. Like, dude, we have come full circle. We are now at the point that people are as dumb as medieval serfs.
Well, I do have a question, right? Because on the one hand, society does not need dumb people. However, if dumb people did not exist, would this YouTube channel and this conversation even happen?
No, because we'd all be in a better place on a
YouTube. Exactly.
Yeah. YouTube would not exist. YouTube would not exist.
Yeah, I think and I said this on a show we was talking about AI, like the more advanced, the reason we need advanced technology is for stupider people to get access, right? To XYZ, right? Like the calculator is for stupid people to do math. The AI is for stupid people to think. It's
I don't take that, because look, you could take a Learjet, right? What is a Learjet designed to do? Essentially, it's designed to compress time. So a lot of technology is designed to compress time so that you as a human can free up time to do more productive things than hunt for your food. That's what technology is all about.
Right. The people too dumb to hunt for their food, man.
Yeah, but no, it's how you build the technology. We decided that because of commercialism, we want everyone to have equal access to product.
Yeah.
We didn't create benchmarks for product. Like, for example, hunting. If we only sold, and I'm not against guns, I'm a gun owner myself, but if we only sold compound bows for hunting or made compound bows, people would have be much more skilled about hunting than generally gun hunters, or just long rifles like standard rifle versus an AR. AR takes way less effort to be good at aiming.
You're not hunting much with an AR.
But I'm just saying, people go out hunting.
I get your point.
Right? Yeah, sure. But we can choose to make it that we don't want to give access to everybody. We created this concept in society that everybody's the same. We're the first time in human history that we decided that there's no difference. That no matter how different we are, by societal view, we should not be viewed different, because we got obsessed with the law, right? And we decided that if the law has to see everybody the same, then everybody has to see everybody the same. And we got lost in the sauce. And that's why everyone got dumb, because we tried to make everyone the same. And you can't guarantee positive outcomes. You can only guarantee negative outcomes.
Look at these
we had to make everyone equally dumb to make us all the same.
Do you know people are so dumb, right, that toasters have to come with instructions?
Yes.
Ladders.
Yeah.
Warnings. To your point, Gimpy, take the astronauts that are on their way to the moon, right? Think about all the people who didn't get to go, but are still extremely qualified, but they didn't make the cut. Okay. They didn't make the cut. So, right. In terms of outcomes, they're not going to be.
Dude, it's the number one reason. Hear me out on this. why are conspiracy theories generally wrong? And when I say that, I mean that there's some global cabal of very small few people running it for all 8 billion. Why is that generally wrong? Because in order to do that, you would need to be able to guarantee positive outcomes, no? But the truth is to rig a sporting event, the only way you can do that is to guarantee negatives, have him call fouls, have them miss shots on purpose. You can't get them to hit shots on purpose, because even if they try, they can still miss. You can't guarantee that outcome. So in order to be effective running 8 billion people, how many positive outcomes do you have to guarantee all at the same time?
There's a lot of variables in there. Absolutely.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. Like, from just on the simple thing of positive outcomes, you can eliminate that a small group of people fundamentally can run the world. Now, they can influence the world, sure.
Yeah.
But you can't get one group of people dynamically in charge of 8 billion people. It's not possible, because you would have to be able to guarantee positive outcomes, and there's just no way. There's no way to do it. So you would get all sorts of unintended consequences. And that, like, this is what I'm saying. People don't think like this anymore, because we don't train people's minds to think like this, to be able to reason, like, abstract an idea and then think it through without having all the facts and seeing how it plays out. It used to be in this country, everyone was fit and everyone could think. They might not be smart, but they could think. They understood how to take a concept apart, even the dumbest amongst us. The 1950s in this country is a model of what this country was, not because of segregation. I'm saying because of the effectiveness of education in this country. Every kid was lean and muscular, and every kid could read and write at grade level, basically.
There was a guy that we grew up with, Mark. Mark was the one fat kid in the neighborhood. Okay. However, Mark had the cardiovascular system of Carl Lewis. Okay. He was just fat. Okay. But he could do everything that the rest of us could do. But to your point, yeah, we didn't see a lot of obese people coming up. People, not just kids, but people in general, you know.
Did you see a lot of kids that couldn't read?
Not in my experience, not coming up in my experience.
No, I don't remember that either.
Dude, I rolled in some of the, like, look, I went to some of the nicest schools for what I could. I'm not going to deny I had a great education, but by choice, I ended up in some of the worst places at the wrong times. And not one of the hood rats that I rolled with in all my time couldn't spell, couldn't do math in their head. All these kids could add up what 5 nickel, like, dude, they all knew how many grams was in the net, like, all of them off the top of their head. They didn't need the internet for any of it, because it didn't exist.
Right.
These guys could do math in their head. They could do basic multiplication, division, subtract. Like, they could deal with all basic facts and figures of living at life and getting an education in the public school. And these are the bottom feeders.
Diamond Dave, how old are you, man?
I'm 37.
When you grow up, did you remember any kids that couldn't read?
No. I mean, I went to high school from 2003 to 2007. So that was back when like we didn't have like smartphones, or like, you know, some cell phones were around, but kids, like, we didn't have it. And like when it came to social media, like we weren't on it 24/7. Like MySpace was a thing, and that taught us how to do like web design and HTML, right? That taught us how to do coding. But after school, every day we'd go home, get on MySpace, check messages, figure out, okay, so-and-so's hosting a bunch of people over the weekend, and we'd like coordinate, you know, who's bringing what snacks. And then when we'd like hop on bikes or hop on the bus and then go.
Yeah.
And then
this is interesting.
That was it. It's like I spent a lot of time. I was like a mall rat, because I lived in Richfield, Minnesota at the time, and Mall of America's in Bloomington, Minnesota. So it's like a 20-hour. Yeah. So I mean, we'd hang out at Mall of America literally all day, mini golf, doing the rides, walking around, eating food.
Yeah, man, there's definitely a change, but I wonder how long before now. How long before we go back to space again, based on our education system now? Maybe all the astronauts will be from Mississippi or private schools. But guys, make sure you hit that like button, share, and subscribe. Also, guys, let us know in the comments what you think about Easter, whether it's something that is controlling the masses or a necessary good for remembering rituals or the Christian practice. But guys, we're gonna get out of here tonight. Diamond Dave, man, thanks for joining us. Tell people where to find you, brother.
It's under my name, actually, at Diamond Dave YT.
Okay, and you just got off a live stream, your own live stream, right?
Yeah, like about 30 minutes before you started.
Right on, man. What were you doing today?
So I was doing a mansion building, actually. Basically, there's the settlement building mechanic in Fallout 4 where some places can be like taken over and you scrap the junk and resources around it to get building materials. And I built like a 3-story personal player home, right? So I'm just building that out.
Do you also add the security around it too? Like get the community going? I forgot what it's called.
What do you mean, security or
like settlement? You put your settlement? Do you put people in roles in your settlements and stuff like that too?
Oh, I mean, yeah, but I mean this location, no, because it's like a house for me. So basically, it's like a nice wooden, almost like box. What
location was it at? Sorry, I'm a Fallout junkie. I'm just curious.
Oh, Green Top Nursery. I bulldozed everything, including the house.
Yeah.
And I could take pot shots at Breakheart Banks right across the street.
Yeah.
So Fallout nerds, man. But yeah, everybody follow Diamond Dave. Also, make sure you're in the Discord. Cisco, man, tell them where to find you.
Soldiers of Finance on YouTube. We had a busy week, so we weren't able to put any content up, but we're going to be doing some next week. And giving folks some insight into the campaign and what we're doing to bring back affordability and prosperity to Maryland.
You recently were on Fox 45, man. How'd it go? Went very well. Yeah. We talked about the economy. That's the hot topic. 72% of Marylanders say that groceries are prohibitively expensive. And that this is a Maryland thing. Okay. Yeah. Any response to Boogate? When the governor says in response to that, he said that he's the most popular governor in the country.
Well, the poll that UMBC did came out last week would beg to differ. He's losing popularity. It's funny because he has presidential aspirations. If he just did the right thing here in Maryland, he would be a shoo-in, but he hasn't, and he's run out of time because the legislative session is at an end. Next stop, election. So,
Yep. Yeah. Gimpy, tell him where to find you, brother.
Nowhere. I'm on vacation.
There we go. Someone asked earlier, how are you celebrating Passover?
In my house.
There you go. All right,
I gotta ask real quick before we end up. I gotta ask the Cisco something real quick. So when it comes to your plan for fixing the economy, are you gonna do what they do in South Park, where you wear bed sheets and like pray to the economy for forgiveness?
we have something a little bit more substantive than that. Yeah,
okay. Yeah. I just had to ask.
No, it's gonna be a little bit more. A lot more effective than that.
Oh my gosh, guys! All right, guys, make sure you hit that like button.
More.
Yeah, no, nothing's more. But guys, make sure you hit that like button, share, subscribe. We are the Metro Conservative Media family, our community. Join us on Discord. Go to metroconservativemedia.com and also buy our merch. Get the 80% or no better than the toaster shirt. You can also get the Don't Mute Me Bro, which is a life-size replica of Soldiers of Finance looking up to me. Guys, make sure you just support the channel and support the show. But we're gonna get out of here tonight, guys. And remember, only monkeys litter. And happy Easter. Peace.
Take it easy, guys.